Hi, my name's Samira, and I'm going to talk about the difference between emotions and feelings. What is the difference? How do we get in touch with our feelings? How do we express our feelings? So, the difference between emotions and feelings is super simple. It is simply that feelings are what we feel, these internal messages that we have that let us know when we're sad or when we're happy, when we're joyful, and the emotion is the expression of those feelings. Sometimes, however, the expressions of those feelings aren't necessarily true expressions. The emotions may not be, true emotions that represent our actual feelings. And it's good to be able to understand this and to discern this. And it's not actually our fault in many ways. I mean, we've been brought up with cultures that have historically been terrible at getting in touch with feelings. We've got, on one hand, the sort of British Empire, suppression of the feelings. The captain saying to the soldier on the battlefield, never mind, Roderick, I know your leg's just been blown up, but you've got another one, back to the battlefield. That sort of thing. And, don't feel anything, just turn yourself into a machine, which really doesn't honour this sensitivity and beauty of this human experience, and can cause so much suffering and pain, not just for that person, but for everyone that they relate to in their family that they then have a problem with relating to. And then we've got the other side, which you can often see in sort of Latin cultures, where there's a lot of emotion and everything's very passionate, and everyone gesticulates and makes their point known, and can shout over each other, and seem as very expressive culture. But that's worth questioning if that is actually a true expression of their actual feelings, or if it is simply the emotions that are just part of the communication, way of relating, way of feeling loved, and how those behaviors have formed. So yeah, this is why we tend to be not very good at expressing our true feelings. And it's worth, when you have big feelings coming up, really looking at how to deal with that and how to actually feel what you're feeling. So when you have big stuff happen, and we all have big stuff happen, we all suffer, we're all going through it on one level or another. I don't believe there's any human in this world who doesn't experience suffering. It is just, we're going to know someone who's died, we're going to feel sadness, we're going to feel everything that's going on around us on some level. And we have to learn to deal with this in a super healthy and functional way, and to be able to express how we're feeling in a super healthy and functional way. So how do we do this? Well, my suggestion is that when the big feelings come up, you take a moment to just go internally, to just feel what you're actually feeling, and don't try and resist it. Don't get scared by it. Don't necessarily, it can feel overwhelming, like this big wave that's knocking over us at times. And, you're not going to drown. In fact, if you just surrender and open up, it's like you drop often through the bottom of the situation and you find spaciousness, or you find something more. So allow yourself to actually feel what you're feeling through that space, through that, just being gentle with yourself, listening. You can even put your hand on your heart or your hand on your belly, and just take a few moments to breathe and reconnect and feel how you're feeling within all of this, so you're not caught in all the emotions of the situation. Often with these big situations, we get loads of emotions and everything else piled on top of us, and it's just, okay, let's just feel for this moment, and then your natural expression will come out. And don't judge that natural expression. That natural expression might be tears, natural expression might be screaming, or just letting it out, or needing to just do something that allows that tension to clear from your body. But to start with, just take a moment to feel. And generally we don't like feeling this heavier stuff, and we would rather have a drink or have a smoke or have some food or get into an argument or do something to not feel. But to really honor your feelings is going to be to really deepen your sensitivity with who you are and just understand yourself better and this human journey better. So, it's so important to allow yourself to feel. And then the second part is really understanding where those feelings have come from. Because we like to think that, somehow they just come inside us, and, our feelings are our true part of ourselves. It's what feels real, is what we feel. But when you start unpicking it a little bit further, you can realize that you can really change the landscape of your feelings. If you go to the pub and get drunk every other night, you're likely to feel quite lousy and quite rough after a while. And, when you start tuning into those feelings, they're going to be, it's going to feel uncomfortable, and it's not going to feel so good. Whereas if you actually allow yourself to listen to your feelings and create a lifestyle that is nurturing and wonderful for yourself, then those feelings inside, you're nurturing a culture of beauty and wonder and love inside your body, and your feelings are going to be more aligned with that you're choosing in life. So taking responsibility for how you're living life will change how you feel, and taking responsibility for how you express those feelings will also change the landscape around you equally. If you don't deal with your feelings and you just shout and scream at people, and let out your anger and let out your tension and frustration, you are going to cause that ripple in the world. You're going to affect people around you. And equally, you could be someone that's living with someone that often shouts and screams at you. And you know how that feels. You know how horrible that feels. But when you feel that, do you then stop that pattern? Do you realize that those feelings aren't your natural feelings, but they are the emotions of someone else that you've absorbed, and you're then, you then have a responsibility to know how you're going to express it. Do you then, you get kicked by your father and you kick the cat, or do you actually stop that, feel what it is, understand where those feelings are coming from, where that sadness is coming from, the toxicity you've absorbed from around you, allow yourself to process and not to carry on that chain or that cycle. So, just to summarize, we've got feelings, which are really important to feel, emotions, which we like to justify often as the expression of our feelings, and it's very justifiable, but to question if those expressions, if those emotions are a true expression of those feelings, to come into yourself when you go through big emotional, feeling intense times, and just to feel actually what's going on, and then to allow yourself to be an authentic expression of that in this world. I hope that helps.